You retired in 2016 after beating Lewis Hamilton to take the World Championship, and this mobility solutions conference has really been your main focus, hasn't it?
Yeah, as an entrepreneur now, I'm really focused on green technologies because it's the most exciting space out there, I find, at the moment, and it's a great opportunity for impact. So it's like win-win at the moment out there.
So what are you finding? I mean, we talked about the scooter company that you've invested in. I know you've done some other work with your own family engineering company, TRE, and the German company Schaeffler here. What are you finding as far as investments that can be made right now to help fight climate change?
Well, that's the thing, that there's so many opportunities, and this is also the reason why I've put up this technology festival all around green tech, because it's called Green Tech Festival, obviously, and it's happening here in Berlin. And we have the most amazing speakers, exhibitors, everybody's coming to join in to make it like the global gathering for that. And this is what I've set up as a co-founder. So we're now in the final days of preparation. It's actually kicking off tomorrow morning here in Berlin. So it's a very, very exciting time, and I'm very proud.
Anna?
Nico, good morning. Good to speak to you this morning. As somebody who was recently in Brussels and recently accidentally mown down by an e-scooter in a bicycle lane, no doubt that was my fault. How big do you think e-scooters can get? How big can they be versus other either e-mobility or other mobility solutions?
I'm quite sure it's going to be absolutely huge. Of course, there's going to be issues, exactly the ones that you just mentioned, the risks on the pavements and all these kind of things. So these need sorting out, and also all the e-scooters then lying around once they get to a huge amounts of numbers. We know that that's already happening in the US, but it's an incredible space, and it's going to be really cool to follow what's going on there. And yeah, but especially here in Berlin, the regulations have only just opened up now, so it's like just kicking off. So it's amazing how they're all rolling out these e-scooters on the streets. It's just phenomenal.
I wanted to ask you also, you described yourself straight out of the blocks there as an entrepreneur now, which indeed you are, Nico. Who inspires you then as an entrepreneur? I know you have invested in some of Elon Musk's companies. I think Lyft also you're invested in. Who do you look to provide the inspiration and the ideas?
I've always looked up to exactly people like Elon Musk in the startup space who make such an impact with what they're doing. Particularly now Tesla, for example, it's going to accelerate the world's transition to renewable energies as a company, and that's just so powerful, and that's really, really important as a direction for our planet. So this is something I really look up to, and I would love to have a big impact myself as an entrepreneur in that space. And in fact, in Germany as well, I just invested in a company last year called Lilium, where Bloomberg ran a headline just recently, and it's a Vitol, which is an air taxi, and amazing, electric jet powered, and they rotate. So it's vertical liftoff, and then they rotate, and it becomes an airplane. So it's an incredible solution, and if they make this happen, it's going to be phenomenal.
Yeah, I know you have a couple of air taxi companies speaking at your conference, because you've got Lilium and Volocopter as well speaking there. I want to ask about racing, and I was just looking at Formula One stock. John Malone's Liberty Media, of course, acquired Formula One, and it's done quite well, up 25% so far year to date. You own a chunk of another company that John Malone is invested in called Formula E, and they're going to actually race here this weekend in Berlin at Tempelhof. Do you think Formula E could replace Formula One?
I don't think they're really in competition. Formula One will always remain the pinnacle of motorsports. It's where the gladiators fight it out with the most high-tech machines in the world. Formula E is different. It's showcasing the technology of the future. It's a development space for the car manufacturers. It goes to the fans because all the races are in the cities, just like here in Berlin, where it'll be right in the city, near the city center. And I think that's a different approach. And it's an approach where, for example, it attracts more families, also because there's no sound, there's no noise, so it's more child-friendly. So it's different, and I think both have their space.
I just want to finally ask you about Niki Lauda. I noticed that you tweeted a couple of photos yesterday. Niki Lauda, of course, one of the most famous, relentless, determined Formula One drivers, race car drivers of all time. What do you think his passing means for the sport?
Yeah, it was an extremely sad day for everybody who knew him, who was close to him, and for everybody in the world of sports, because he's an absolute legend. I mean, what he achieved in our sport, and even now at the age of 70, he was still dominating our sport, just in a different position now as chairman of Mercedes Formula One team, with which I also became world champion. So I have so much to thank him, and I'll forever remember him very, very fondly.
All right, Nico, thanks very much. Really appreciate you stopping by the studio. Look forward to attending your conference this weekend as well. Nico Rosberg, former F1 world champion, now co-founder of the Green Tech Festival here in Berlin.